Hi, and welcome to the Austin Video Sew Along. I'm Jen, the owner and founder of Grainline Studio, and in this series, I'll be guiding you through each step of sewing up the Austin dress. We'll start with today's intro to the pattern, supplies, and fabrics needed to create your own Austin. Our next lesson will focus on pattern adjustments for fit, and then we'll get to sewing. Just a note, this sew-along is filmed and edited to show every aspect of the sewing process, step by step, in real time. If you'd prefer to watch it faster, YouTube allows you to speed up the playback via a button below the video. The Austin features a semi-fitted bodice with discrete armhole darts for shaping. A keyhole opening at the front adds detail and allows the jeweled neck to fit over your head with ease. The bodice is fitted through the shoulders and then relaxes in fit from the upper bust down to the waist. Below the waist, you have two options: a knee-length A-line skirt, like this one here, or a midi-length gathered skirt with optional pockets. At the side seams, you'll find button band closures, which add both function and interest to the dress. As far as fabrics, we recommend light to mid-weight woven fabrics such as cotton poplin, chambray, denim, linen, linen blends, rayon, and rayon blends. There are other fabrics as well, but that's just a general guide. Personally, I'm not much of a pattern matcher. I love being able to see the seaming and details on a garment, but if you are, please keep in mind that extra fabric may be needed to match plaid, stripes, or other one-way design prints. For my Austin sample, I'll be using this medium weight linen squiggle print. It has squiggles on the front and it is plain on the back, so you'll be able to easily see right and wrong side. The first thing you'll need for the sew along is the Austin pattern. It's available in our shop, which I'll link in the description below the video, along with the links to the rest of the tools and supplies mentioned in this section. We offer the Austin in both paper and PDF format and in both of our size ranges, so it's available from 0 to size 32. So you can choose the pattern and size that's right for you. Now I'm just going to walk you through the fabric choices of our samples so you can get an idea of how different fabrics behave when sewn up into the Austin. So first we have, this is a rayon twill sewn up into view B, and you can see how drapey it is. It's a little bit heavy too, so the drape is really nice. It doesn't stand out from the body, just a nice, beautiful, fluid movement. So in contrast, here we have view B sewn up in a cotton linen blend. It is 55% linen, 45% cotton, and you can see how it just has more body. The pleats are holding their shape a bit more, or sorry, the gathers, you can see it moves kind of like, it's not stiff, but it just moves more as one instead of the flowy of the rayon. And it's really cute on the body. It's a little more casual than the rayon, so I really like this fabrication. Now for this view A, we have a very thin rayon. This is about 2 ounces, and you can see it just really, it hangs very fluidly. This one will kind of fit to the waist and then flow off the hips, if that's a look you're interested in. I think it's very cute, and it's very breezy. You're not going to get very hot in this fabric. And then in contrast, we have view A made up in a 100% linen twill. And the twill is the weave of the fabric that gives it a really nice drape. So even though it's much thicker than the 2 ounce, I believe it's somewhere around 5 ounce or 6, you can see it still has really good flow. Now, fusible interfacing, some people find that very confusing. For this project, you're going to want to look for a woven and a lightweight, because you want the interfacing to sort of match the flow and the weight of what you're making. You don't want whatever's interfaced to be stiff like a board. So I'll be using this lightweight woven interfacing that I ordered from Workroom Social. She has really great stuff. So if you need fusible interfacing, definitely hit Jenny up for that. As far as thread, I like to use a high quality 100% polyester thread, like the ones available from Mettler, Gutermann, or Wonderfill. For this, I'll be using 100% poly thread. It won't shrink after you've sewn your garment, so you won't have any surprises the first time you wash it. The Austin calls for quite a few buttons. You'll need 16 buttons to close the sides of the dress, and these buttons should be somewhere between 11/16 and 3/4 inches. That's 18 to 19 millimeters. At the top of the center front keyhole, you'll need one coordinating 3/8 inch button. The last supply you'll need is a 1 1/2 inch length of elastic cord to use to close the keyhole. We used the Dritz elastic cord, which is available in black and white. If you can't find a coordinating elastic cord, you can also create a thread chain, but keep in mind that we have found it easier to use the elastic when actually opening and closing the keyhole. Pretty much any pins you have laying around are going to work just fine as long as they're the appropriate size for your fabric. I'll be using glass head pins on my linen version. That way, if I am at the iron, I don't have to worry about the head melting. Since this dress is meant for wovens, a universal needle will be fine. Match the size of the needle with the fabric you're using. Thinner needles for finer fabrics, thicker for less fine or more loosely woven fabrics. For machine feet, I'd recommend you use whatever foot you're comfortable with for the bulk of the assembly. For me, this is my 1/4 inch foot, but it might be a different foot for you. We have edge and top stitched the seams on the Austin, so we recommend an edge stitching foot for the initial stitching line. Edge stitching feet have a guide down the center of the foot that aligns with the edge of your fabric and helps you stitch a consistent distance from your edge. Just a note that, as the name implies, these feet only work over an edge. For the second line of stitching, 1/4 inch away from the edge stitching, we do recommend using a 1/4 inch foot or a similar foot that has a 1/4 inch marked on it. I'm not much of a rotary person, but if you prefer to cut using a rotary cutter, you'll need that plus a rotary mat to go under your fabric. I prefer to work with scissors, and these are the pairs I find most useful for almost every project I make. First are my Ginger bent handle shears. I use these to cut my fabric, snip, clip, and more. I use embroidery scissors to grade my seam allowances. You can alternately use duckbill scissors, but I find them a bit large and awkward for my small hands. Thread snips live next to each of my machines at all times. I could not sew without them. You'll need a tape measure to take your measurements, as well as lay out your pattern pieces for cutting. Having an 18-inch gridded ruler handy is often helpful when laying out your pattern pieces and making sure that the pockets are square to the front. You may also want a seam gauge for pressing up hems, and if you're using a rotary cutter, a rotary ruler can be useful for straight lines. You'll need a marking tool of some kind to trace your pattern onto fabric. I like to use a Bowen chalk pencil. It has a fine lead that comes in multiple colors and is washable, so no matter what color you use, it will come out in the wash. You'll need an iron and an ironing board to complete this garment. I'll be using my Laura Star Smart Eye iron and board, which I personally love, but whatever you have on hand will work great. I also like to have a ham and sleeve roll handy for pressing curved bits and sleeves. If you don't have these already, they'll really up your sewing game. Okay, so that is it for day 1 of the Austin Sew Along. I hope you found that information useful and you're just as excited as I am to sew up your Austin. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comments below. Our next lesson will focus on choosing a size and basic pattern adjustments, so make sure you're subscribed to our channel via the link below to make sure you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.